Hey there, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back. Glad you made it. It's a so production. That's right, we're doing it on Wednesday, August the 7th, 2024. If it's your first time, buckle up, buckle down. Where can you find these videos? On Instagram, follow me there, subscribe on the YouTube channel if you like to watch the full-length videos. Check out patreon.com/RobSadri if you like to physically, financially support the show. If you've been with me from the get-go, from the lizards, fam. If you've been with me from the get-go, sending all the love right back to you, wherever you're tuning in from, whether it's Canada, down south in the United States, further down south, Mexico, South America, over there in Spain, over there I'm talking in France, over to Portugal, Italy, Tanzania, over there in Africa, over there in Guatemala, over there in all the stands, Middle East, Asia, Africa, Antarctica, Papua New Guinea, new islands, new continents are being formed. Hello from the new continents. I call dibs on all the natural resources. If there's a new continent forming somewhere around it was already formed, but it's maybe being discovered, somewhere near Greenland and maybe even Canada, dibs on Greenland. I'll buy Greenland for like $2 right now. If I hear 250, let me hear 250. 250 going for Greenland, 350, $5. If I see another bet in here, I'm gonna, all right, $6.75. And Greenland goes to the gentleman wearing red. Fantastic. I will take the deeds. I don't know how that works, but send it over. $6.70. All right, round it $7. You pushed me in a corner. You bent my elbow. You licked my taint, and you have pinned me down. And I'm liking it. It's nice. You're rubbing your clit all over my face, and I can't resist at this point. So Greenland sold for $7.75. I am not gonna go $8. All right, $10. $10 for Greenland. Call it right now. I'm officially the new owner of Greenland, or like a new continent that's maybe emerging in the region. I'm taking over. Freeland, we'll call it Freeland, where everything is free, like costly, but not too cool, but like Freeland. Freelandians. What's their ethnicity? It's fucking all over the place. That's what their ethnicity is all about. Freelandians. I'll get the deeds soon enough. Ladies and gentlemen, but let's buckle up, because today's all about anal ramifications or anal repercussions or some along those lines. Not quite sure, to be honest with you, because that's what this podcast does. It goes all over the place. Skirt all over the place on your mom's tits and on your dad's cack too. So let's buff that bad boy and get right into it. Let's get a sip of this shit first. Let's get some coffee in the bod for a second if we can together. God. Welcome to the program. Welcome to the program. May you like the program. May the program be suitable for you. Welcome to the program. It's still very hot in it. Don't want to burn the intestines. Or do I? Or maybe I do. Low key, maybe I do. Maybe I want to just fucking burn my throat a little bit. Just a little bit. Let's get up. Yeah. Anal ramifications, ladies and gentlemen. What am I talking about? First of all, it's Wednesday. We're halfway through the week, but what am I talking? Anal repercussions. Your boy feels good. I hope you're doing well. I'll get into it. I had a great weekend. I hope you guys and gals did too out there. But I did have a little bit of a situation, if you will. A little bit of a sitch. A little bit of a anal repercussions, anal ramifications. Your boy was feeling good. Took a deuce, took a dump, regular dump. Went for the old flush, flushed it down the toilet. It was a regular sized shit too. It was a regular sized shit, which I'll say this. But it ended up clogging the toilet, which was nice. Which felt good. Because that's the thing I looked at. I was going down. It's just a medium sized, regular sized piece of shit. Nothing to be proud of. Nothing that was, nothing worthy of calling in a friend or a family member to be like, hey, look at this. And everybody can gloat and everybody can be like, oh, that's our guy right there. Look at that massive, huge shit he took. It wasn't something that I'd be proud of. It wasn't something I'd take a photo of and send family, friends, acquaintances, strangers even. It wasn't something that I was like, oh, this one. I've given birth, of course, to bigger pieces of shit, but that one was just a regular size shit, which was a little bit surprising. Yeah, this was not I just want to make sure that we're all in, because sometimes happens to the best of us. Ladies, gents, you all know what I'm talking about. You take a huge dump, you clog the toilet, next thing you know, you're spending a little bit more time in the bathroom than you'd like. But no, sorry, this was a regular size shit. This wasn't something that you'd, call the Guinness World book of records and be like, I got a doozy here. You might want to come take a look at this bad boy. It's what is that, a fetus or a baby? Ah, that's a shit I took. You'll say that. It wasn't something that you'd, take a photo of using using an old school camera and take it to the old photo booth and get it printed and then stick it on the refrigerator just so you can have a little bit of a conversation piece when people come over and be like, whoa, what is that? Is that some sort of like, whole wheat bread? No, get a closer look at the loaf. I made that loaf. It's not bread. And they're like, oh, that's so cool. It wasn't something like that. It wasn't a type that you'd make copies of and send out as, Christmas greeting cards or, a happy anniversary. Here's a photo of a piece of shit that I did. Take a look at it. It wasn't one of those. It wasn't ready for a birthday card. Hallmark wasn't knocking on the door saying, let's get a piece of this action. Also, it was a regular size shit. I just want to, in case anybody was mistaken, because you're like, oh, you clogged the toilet. It must have taken a massive dump. No, regular size, which caught me off guard too, because it went, and that's the thing too. Sometimes, I don't know what happened. To be honest with you. It caught me off guard. I'm guessing it's got to do with all the Olympics going on, the shits, instead of just sliding down the tube, I did a bit of a 360 backflip loop-de-loop, and it got, I guess it went like sideways and it got clogged, and that was nice. But then I let it sit for a second. I couldn't see it. It was already in the pipage, but it clogged the toilet, right? And I couldn't see it, and I'm like, oh man. And that's the moment where you gotta, nobody prepares you for this type of shit in life, but that's the time when you become like a toilet physicist. You gotta start doing math in your head that you weren't ready for. You're like, how many more flushes can I allocate to this piece of shit to make sure that it gets flushed down? So you already got one flush, the water's not gone down. You're like, all right. Now I'm doing math in my head, math that I've not prepared for in some time. How many gallons fit in a toilet bowl? How many ounces of water in there are in each flush? So I got one flush down. I got a couple more maybe. I'm like, all right, second flush, and the second flush after the first flush that's not gone down. Everybody, if you flush a little bit harder, if it's a button or it's a little handle that you gotta just pull down, you press it a little bit harder, pull on the handle a little bit harder, just to make sure the water just kind of hits it from the back and takes care of the business, right? So I give it a few seconds, give it a few minutes. Let the water settle, let it go down a little bit, because a little bit of water always seeps through. That's the beauty of this episode, seeping through, anal repercussions. Welcome to the program. So I wait a few seconds, wait a few minutes, the water does go down a little bit, but not enough, but I'm like, all right, I can afford another flush, power flush this time, just a little bit of momentum in the finger, and the index finger pulling on the handle just a little bit stronger, flush it down. All right, the water's coming in, it's not going down. Oh shit. So now we're in murky territory. Now we're treading in questionable territory, because now the water's risen. Not quite close enough to the rim of the toilet, but it's getting there. It is getting there. So now you gotta think to yourself, is this a third flush? Is the charm sort of situation, or is it gonna be, or what's it gonna be? Or has the water gone down enough for there to be enough room for a third? Is there enough capacity in the toilet before a third flush? Because if it doesn't go down, we might get water to the rim, and the rim is fine. I've been in that situation several times, not gonna lie to you. But you don't want the water flowing over the rim, because that, my friends, is no bueno. That is something that you're gonna have to wear a hazmat suit for. That is something that you're gonna have to come in with, like, some sort of medical gear, some sort of fucking, bring a couple of just, golf clubs. You gotta come in with a snake to drain the, so if it's hovering right around the rim, fine. Above the rim, floating down on the floor, has it happened? Came close several times. We've come close. I'm not gonna lie to you. No, buck 50, keeping it 100 with the gang. Has it ever flown? Maybe once. I can't really recall. Maybe once or twice. It not significantly, but enough for you to be like, man, we're gonna have to now do a thorough cleaning of this bathroom floor. So now the water has, we're down to 3 flushes now. So we're down to 3 flushes, and it's stuck in there and it's not going out. You're like, yeah, all Alrighty, great. Well, it's okay. The good thing is at that point, at least you've gotten rid of the fecal matter that's stuck in your body. At least you're not like, oh, I gotta take a shit and the toilet's clogged. At least you took the shit, which is nice. That's the pros. You know, when life gives you shits, you gotta make shit shakes, like milkshakes, but made of shit, or shitamade, like lemonade, but from shit, or concentrated shit. Like, I don't know, you gotta make something with it. So that's what I did. I went like, all right, I'm gonna give this a little bit of time. I will walk away and hopefully gravity will do its thing. You know, a lot of times you just gotta let gravity handle a few things. And like, cause we all do so much in our daily lives, activities, you carry so much around with us. You're like, you know what, this one's on gravity. All right, gravity, I've given it 3 flushes. Do your thing, suck it down. And I'll be back to check on you about half an hour, 45 minutes. Hopefully you've realized what you've done here and you've made some adjustments. Go back 30 minutes, 45 minutes after, and it's still there. The water's still there, not moving, significantly at least. It's gone down a couple of centimeters, but still, it's there. 3 flushes worth of water in the toilet bowl. Can't see the shit, at least. That's the good thing about it, because sometimes you'll get the shit that's just like winking at you from the hole. I couldn't see it. That was again, taking the positive, taking the W's where you can in life, really. So I'm like, all right, good. At least I don't see it, which means, all right, and we're on a good start here. Now I got to look around the old bathroom to see what's available to me. It's not the newest spot for me, but it is a relatively new spot. Again, I've not had the time to, and I don't want to accumulate too much stuff in the studio compound headquarters, if you know what I mean, because you never know how long you're going to be around, and when it comes time to moving, you don't want to have accumulated a lot of stuff. So I'm just like keeping things bare minimums, skeleton crew, keeping it bare minimums, keeping it tight. So my bathroom, I've not had the opportunity to purchase a plunger, but I have a toilet brush for cleaning purposes. So I'm like, all right, let's get in there with the toilet brush now, with the little teeny tiny, foot long brush. And let's just stab the hole at the bottom of the toilet. Let's stab the hole just give it a couple of shanky poos right there. Just stab the old toilet hole and see if it opens up anything, see if anything is. So now I'm in there, and that's the thing, the toilet brush handle is very short. It's roughly a foot long, and the brush itself is maybe 3-4 inches long. So we're talking about, foot and 3-4 inches, So we're talking about maybe, so just enough so you can grab the tip of the handle and like jam it in there, but the entire handle is now submerged into the toilet water, which is a whole other thing, which you gotta, either turn a blind eye to later on, just pretend, or like somehow thoroughly clean it. But now I'm like, all right, let's stand over the toilet, stab this hole, and I'm stabbing, I'm brushing, but nothing's happening. I'm just splashing a little bit of water here and there. It's just like, all right, okay, this is not working. I'm like, well, what if I go a little bit deeper? What if I try to get in deeper? But at the same time, I don't want to break the barrier. I don't want my hands submerged in the toilet bowl water. It's my own toilet bowl. It is my own shits. There is 3 flushes worth of water in there, and I don't see the shit. So it's not terribly disgusting, but it's still toilet water, and there's shit at the bottom somewhere. So I'm just like, I'd rather not. And I didn't have any gloves or anything that I could use. So I'm like, I'd rather, if I could avoid dipping the hand in the toilet water, let me be that guy today, If they were to take a survey of guys, would you like to have your hand submerged in shit water? Out of 100 guys, some guys might say yes, some guys might say no. On that day, I'll say that this guy was a big no. I'm like, let me just try to avoid it if I can. And I'm just like grabbing the tip of the old brush, just trying to jam it in there, and it's not far enough. I'm like, man, if only I had a few more inches on the, but then I don't. It's not long enough. So I'm like, all right, okay, let's grab it from far as possible, but nonetheless try to get a little bit. We're gonna have to get a little bit of hand in the water now. We are gonna have to get a little bit of hand in the water. Just every time you splash a little bit of water on your hands. It's okay, it's all right, a little bit of water, but nothing's happening. I'm like, all right, so now, all right, now, okay, toilet 1, Robbie boy, 0 for now. The battle is won, but the war is not lost. Wait, the war has begun, but the battle is also about to go down. It's not about I'm coming back is what I'm trying to say. All right, you won this one toilet, but your boy's coming back. I'm gonna give it some time. We're gonna just take a little bit of time just to recollect ourselves, see just what happened. We're gonna take a little bit of time, go for a little bit of walk in and around the compound, circle around for about half an hour, 45 minutes, come in and check and see what's going on. Let gravity do its thing. I'm like, you know what, let gravity take, I've given it a couple of splash boosh. Let gravity do the rest. Welcome to the program. Ain't no repercussions. Ladies and gentlemen, I came back, maybe it's now been 2 hours, the water's still at the same levels. It went down a little bit, but not enough to be like, we can afford a fourth flush. No way, no way. And you're like, what did you do? How did you overcome this? My God, I've seen families fall apart from this. I don't wish this upon anybody. I rather see children get cancer, you'll say. I'm like, you know what? I'll tell you how I dealt with it. I'll tell you right now. Let me get a sip of this shit. I went out there, ladies and gentlemen, and I decided to get a plunger. And I go to the dollar store, I'm like searching for a plunger, but they don't have one. I'm like, oh, shit. So what's the next? What's plan B? What is plan B, ladies and gentlemen? I gotta say, before we get into plan B and further along this story, I gotta say this is, times are great, because now we have the benefits of technology. We have the experience of others that come before us. We have, because back in the day, traditionally shitting and human shitting was always an issue. Used to, before we were like hunter-gatherers, you just take a shit anywhere. Things didn't get clogged. There was communal shitting, which was nice. There were castles way up in the chamber, up in the sky. You used to take a dump, and it used to, travel 40 feet and just go in a shit chamber. And then once in a while, people, if that got clogged, hired somebody, a local village, fortress person would go there with a shovel and shovel the shit out of the shit chamber so that the castle residents can continue communally shitting. So unless, and that's the thing, they probably, back in the day, it wouldn't get clogged. It would just, you'd shit until the point where everybody's accumulation of shit has risen high enough somebody took a shit and eventually it just touched their asshole. And they're like, I think it's full now. I think that's how they got because it's not like somebody goes in there and checks, I'm assuming, unless they had a shit level checker. That probably came after the first incident of the shit rising to the point where it touched someone's asshole or taint or vag. The queen was like, oh my, there's shit in my vag. Somebody needs to clean this. She said that just like that. But that's the thing, bad. So those are the days without snakes. Those are the times where you had to get in there. There was no liquid plunger that you could go to the dollar store and get some sort of formula, which is like, some form of like low grade acid or whatever the hell it is, and break down the shits and make sure it flushes. Now, it wasn't any of that stuff. So you had to get in there raw with your hands, sometimes with your feet, because you didn't have hands, but you were hired to dig up the shit, sometimes with your mouth. That's right. They hired individuals who had a knack for eating shit, and they would grab them by the legs and the feet, and they'd get on their hands and they just start eating and maybe swallowing, or I don't know how it worked, but we've now moved way beyond that. And I was just like, if this was the old times, I just reach in there like a man and grab this shit and take a look at it and be like, it's because of you that we're here today. But it wasn't like that. It wasn't like that, ladies and gentlemen. I had options. So first option, try to get a plunger. No plunger. I'm like, all right, option B, liquid plunger, liquid, dissolver of the shits. And somebody had to come up with that. Some beautiful genius somewhere down the line had to come up with that. The liquid pipe cleaner. They say, if you got liquid, it cleans up the pipe. So I went and bought one, and I came back and the water, it went down a little bit, enough for there to be room for either a flush or liquid plunge. So I'm like, liquid plunger, do your magic, shaken, not stirred, into the toilet bowl. Close the bathroom door, because now it's toxic. Now Now it's an atmosphere where you don't want to be roaming around, son. All right, so I closed the door after the liquid plunger's gone down. Like, all right, I'm gonna come back 45 minutes. It should be gravity, liquid plunger, do your thing, all right? I don't wanna hear do your thing is what I said. Come back 45 minutes, nothing's moved, everything's the same. Damn it, again. What do we have to do? Search for another place that might potentially have a plunger. I found another place, but I wasn't sure if they had a plunger or not. There was another dollar store close to my place of residence, aka the compound, aka the headquarters, aka the headquarters of the syndicate, mi familia, mi casa, su casa, our casa. So I'm like, all right, let's go to this other dollar store nearby and check out the items, see if they got a plunger. I walk in there and hey man, I got so happy because I did see a plunger and it was just like $4.50 for a plunger. I'm like, oh, it's just fucking like, yes, yes, yes. And the beauty of this plunger, ladies and gentlemen, I have to say this again, with the advent of technology, whether or not we've gone to the moon, whether or not we've given AIDS to monkeys and then have monkeys give AIDS to people or something along those lines, whether we like lasers or not, that's aside the point. The point is that, ladies and gentlemen, we have plungers, and this plunger was brand. It was a new tech plunger. I'll say this: it was a new tech plunger. It wasn't one of those old school plungers, one of those wooden handles with the red or orange rubber tip that looks like a fake tit attached to. You know, it looks like a dome. It's like a tiny dome. You know what I'm talking about? The red or orange rubber dome-shaped piece of rubber that's attached to a wooden handle or maybe like a plastic handle of sort. It wasn't any of that. It wasn't a gift. If you saw it at first, just because it was in the section, that's why I realized it was like bathroom cleanup supply section of the dollar store. That's why I recognized it, because if it wasn't, that's the thing. It didn't look like a plunger. It was all black, all one piece, no handlebar, it was all one piece, as if it was 3D printed. I actually think it might have been 3D printed. So I got the state-of-the-art plunger for $4.50 if I'm not mistaken, full black, and it kind of looks like a bazooka. I don't even know what a bazooka looks like. It kind of looks like a boss. It doesn't even look like a plunger. It kind of looks like this could be like what is this? It could be like a fun little like bat, like a little. It's not a baseball bat. It's not a cricket bat. It kind of looks like something that you maybe even use in the kitchen. It kind of looks like a huge dildo. Kind of looks like a mix between a huge dildo and a large flashlight for my well-endowed friends out there. You know what I mean? So it doesn't have that traditional plunger look, which was beautiful because I didn't have a plastic bag with me, and I didn't want to buy one of those. They don't sell plastic bags anymore, regular plastic. They sell you the hardcore plastic. Everywhere you go, you got to buy a hardcore plastic bag, which is supposed to replace the, softcore plastic bags. So you end up with just more hardcore plastic bags, which you don't carry around all the time, because which kind of psycho does that? So you go to places, now you're gonna buy new plastic, but I'm like, oh great, I don't have to buy one of these giant dollar store plastic bags, because I can carry this thing around the neighborhood on my shoulder with the confidence of having people not really even know what this is. People might look at me and be like, what is that? Is that like a recording device? Is that a large microphone? Is that a boomerang? Is that a vibrator? Is that a giant? Is this guy in construction? What is this? It's all black. It doesn't look like a traditional plunger. And I buy this thing. I'm walking on no bag plunger over the shoulder, just strolling down the street with confidence. Just like, as I had nobody even, because that's the thing, if you walk down the street with a plunger, not that I care, not that you care, but people will be like, all right, that guy's got some sort of, IBS or some sort of, massive shit that might be Guinness World Book of Records worthy or something. So that guy's got a problem. And no, ladies and gentlemen, I walked around with a beautiful plunger, matte black on my shoulders. I look like an athlete. Walk with my chest out and everything, fucking taking my slow walking with this shit, just inside my mind begging for people to ask me what this shit is right here. What is that? Is that a piece of photography equipment? What is that? Is that a large microphone? Can I talk into it? Is it a blowhorn? Do you play any magical instruments, or what is this? I was just like, oh, come on, ask. Nobody did. But nonetheless, I felt so confident walking around the neighborhood without a plastic bag with my plunger in hand, just doing my thing. And I came back and I got to it. And I opened the bathroom door and I look at the water and I'm like, all right, the battle's been won, but the war is just beginning. I lost the battle, but the war has just begun. And I'm in there now, just plunge, just pumping. And at first, no sign of relief. Then I'm like, oh fuck, what's going on, man? Is it a new plunger? Is this thing too, is this too high tech for the old shits? Did I have to, upgrade my shits beforehand? What's going on? I didn't get the update. Did I need to plug it in? What's going on? I'm like, get back in there. A couple of more of these bad boys, double fisting it right there. After a few minutes, fucking flushed down the toilet, and beautiful recovery. No spillage over the rim, no extra cleaning, and now I am the proud owner of a magical turn of the century fucking grade A technology plunger. It's probably, I'm guessing this shit has been dropped off by probably aliens. I'm not even sure how we made this thing. It's all one piece. I don't even know how they did it. I'm guessing it's alien technology that they just fucking sprinkled upon us, and they're like, figure it out. I'm like, I don't want to. It just works really well. So, after this, it's really just, the sky's the limit. All I'm saying is I need to go shoulder deep in fucking poop water. Not to say that I won't if need be. If there's what will require me to go shoulder deep in poop water, if there's a hot bitch down at the bottom of the toilet and she's like, help, I will get in there. If I see if it's like a pool filled with poop water and at the bottom of that pool is proper, healthy of age tits beneath the water submerged in sun, and I gotta somehow, get in there and rescue, I will. If there's 2-3 fine bitches beneath some sort of body of water, let's say a river covered in a little bit of fecal matter, and they're like, help, I'll get in there. If there's an elderly woman, I'll find a tree branch. I will say, hold on, bitch, I will get the longest tree branch, and you better still have some grip left in you. If there's a beautiful elderly male sitting on a wheelchair submerged in a body of water that's infested with fecal matter, I will say, times are rough, sir. Times are rough, and I will go get help. If it is a, let's say, an alligator with a fucking broken arm down in the pond filled with feces, it's like, help me, while it's like chewing on some sort of beautiful, torso, I'll be like, no. So there are situations where I will go in if there is, let's say, a large sum of money covered with hot bitches in a body of water covered with fecal matter. I will, I'll have to find out how much is in the briefcase or suit or whatever. If there's like loose bitcoins in the pond covered with fecal matter, how many bitcoins we talking? What's the fecal matter ratio to bitcoins? I'll do the math. I'll get in there if need be. You know what I mean? But there is a time and a place, and on the weekend it wasn't neither the time nor the place. And guess who won the battle, or guess who lost the battle but won the war? Look at this guy right here. And now I've got a fucking plunger that's ready to fucking bounce on this fucking. Oh, you got that right there, dude. If I see the shits, I'm on top of it. My shits don't even think about it anymore, because I'm like, yo, there's no other. How you gonna play this, player? How you gonna clog the toilet now, bitch? Try me. Every once in a while, I'll just fucking whip out the plunger, walk around the compound just to let them know. Ain't nothing getting plugged up in this bitch. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's Wednesday. And that's a little bit of anal ramifications or anal repercussions. I hope that you yourself are out there doing well, and I hope you're not constrained by the shits. And if you are, know that there is help. Call 1-800-ANAL-REPERCUSSIONS right now and get the help you need. If you or your loved ones are facing anal repercussions, well, I got words for you. Welcome to the program. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I'll say this. I meet a whole bunch of beautiful people in and around the city, just like you out there, meeting all the beautiful people in and around the city, walks of life that are different yet very similar, and everybody has got beautiful stories to share. And I recently ran into a beautiful gentleman early in the morning, and he shared a little bit of his story, which was nice. Got me to just be like, man, there's all sorts of people, and it's nice to hear everybody's stories. I met a beautiful gentleman early in the AMs. He shared a little bit of his life story with me. He was going out to get a hooker in the AMs. That's right, AM hooker. He was gonna go out there and get an AM hooker, which was, I respect that. I respect that. It came out of nowhere, because like I get that there's, I love hookers, I love prostitutes, I love, I like the upfrontness about it. I like the honesty aspect of things about it. I do like it. I respect this. Sex work is work. It's one of the hardest works, depending on your definition of hardest. Sometimes it's hard, sometimes it gets soft, but then hard again. It's hard and soft. It's medium. I think we could say it's medium. But it is work nonetheless. He said, yeah, I'm gonna go get a hooker. And it was in the morning, which made me think, man, what? Because to me, hooker is that's like PM activity, or like later in the night after the PM has come to an end. Early AMs or early AMs, not late AMs in the morning would technically be later. Like later in the morning, hooker is just, it's like, they do say that the hooker is the most important meal of the day. So it's that, lunch, and din. So I was just a little bit, I'm like, man, okay, I get hookers. I understand it. I mean, I understand it. I get it. It was just a little bit like I just had a problem with the timing of it, because I'm like, if you start your day off in the early and the late AMs, early in the morning hours of the day, in the early part of the day, if you get the hooker in the morning, then like, what will you do in the evening? Because that to me is like an evening activity. It's like a late at night dark. It's a dark night activity. It's a moonlit activity. It's not one of those that you don't want to get a hooker in the morning, because like it's just, or maybe you do. Maybe that's what I learned. So some people, to each their own. I'm not saying when you should or you shouldn't. I suppose just, to me, it always seemed like it's a nighttime activity. Something like, it's finish the day, and then because if you start the day off with a hooker, then like, it's just, where do you go from there? That's my question. Because like after hooker, you either feel good or bad about a whole bunch of things, and then you go to sleep, and then you wake up and brand new day. You can just get your things going. But if you start with your day paying somebody or getting somebody to hooker on, and it's lunch is gonna seem just like, yeah, what am I even doing with my life? Or like, reward, like I could see it as some like, if it's like a reward system, if you've done something during the day, hooker in the afternoon, evening, I get it. But then that some people, you maybe get the reward first and then go and do your thing after. But it was nice, because it turned out like, I don't want to, it's maintaining anonymity is of course very much, it's valued here. It's important to us. We're not going to mention any names or anything. We're not going to get too much into the details of who or what this person is or does or whatever. We're not going to mention any names. Just say that that the hooker that was getting hooked or hookering turned out to be the guy's girlfriend. So, which was nice. because it was his girlfriend. It wasn't just a random hooker. It was his girlfriend was a hooker that he was gonna go see. And I was told that he's gonna be paying with shrimp. This is just stories that are unloaded on me, and I'm just putting it out on because I don't know what I didn't know what that meant at the time, but I went along with it. I'm like, yes, of course you're gonna pay this hooker with shrimp. So I didn't take the time to Google it either. I'm not quite sure if this is, and by the way, let's not get into Googling things with the whole monopolizing of information. Google, love you out there searching and whatnot. So I don't know if paying hookers and shrimp, I don't know if that's code for like, I've never heard that term before. I'm paying in shrimp, paying in seafood or seashells. Is that code for money or is that code for like, you know, substances? I'm paying her in shrimp, but that doesn't matter. At the end of the day, it's his girlfriend, so they've got a good relationship. And I'm like, how did you guys meet? How did you find out? Did you know that she was hooking from the get-go, or was this and he's like, no, we dated for 6 months and then I found out she was hooking. I'm like, man, that's nice. That's nice, brother. Yes, I totally get it. Of course, very relatable. But the beautiful thing was that he's still with her after he discovered that she was, which was nice. Which is fucking, so that's a winner right there. But then the story got a little bit, I'm not here to, you know, I mean, there's no judgment around here. I'm not gonna, you know, because people, you know, you walk through somebody else's shoes for a second, you're like, man, these shoes are, whoa, filled with fungi or something. So it's like, you know, don't judge a book by its scent of shoe. Do not walk into a bookstore without shoes. Don't read a book about shoes as you're walking in another man's shoes. Make sure that they are aware that you grabbed their shoes and are not, because then otherwise you'd be a fucking shoe pervert and you don't want to be causing alarm, and people will be like, why isn't that guy wearing his own shoes? And then they'll point out and say, oh, that's the shoe pervert right there. He wears other people's shoes just to get a feel for what it's like to walk in other people's shoes. You really want to feel like what it's like to walk in other people's shoes, walk in somebody else's feet. That's what I say. Fucking get a saw and just saw off someone's foot, and then use that same chainsaw, just saw off your own feet, and then attach it somehow, maybe super glue, crazy glue, fucking stitch, get to the emergency room, attach somebody else's foot to your ankles and start walking around, and that will really give you an idea what it's like to walk in other. So the point of this is that there's no judgment. There's no judgment, but there was a little bit of this situation, which is, you know, daily lives of individuals out there. It's a little bit of a story which just like tugged on my heartstrings, but there was like literally nothing I can do about the situation. Did mention that, you know, his girlfriend, the, you know, beautiful hooker lady, is getting paid in shrimp or seafood. Also happens to be situated in a location in the downtown area that might be, you know, a women's shelter of places that is meant to be for women, but unfortunately it gets populated by drug dealers and pimps, which some, according to this beautiful gentleman, may have raped her several times. And to that, you just gotta be like, that's horrible. Why won't you leave? And then you realize these stories are way more dense and way more, you know, complicated than just a matter of telling somebody or suggesting somebody that as if that didn't occur. I should probably leave this place. As you know, you get raped 6 times. And I'm like, so what? So, you know, matters were taken into individuals' own, you know, some people had to take matters into their own hands. I'm not going to go into the deets and whatnot. I'm just saying, if there are places that are meant to be for women's spaces, specifically battered women's shelters, and whatnot, let's make sure that they're not getting pimped out, or raped several times, and it just so that was alarming. I'll say that, but I will say the beauty of this is that I didn't want to suggest it, of course, but I am suggesting it online in case anybody's in that particular situation. I just, in my mind, I'm like, getting pimped out, hooking for drugs, you know, $5 for a blowy, you know, you know your worth. You could get, you know, you're worth more than that. I wanted to suggest they should go on, like, there's platforms online you can pimp yourself out now. That's the beauty of today, is that we have stuff like so many platforms. I'm probably gonna be a top earner on OnlyFans, but I'm like better than probably getting $5 for a blowy that you're gonna spend on like pink cocaine or whatever you're at. So it was just one of those stories, paying people in seashells and shellfish and shrimp is a thing apparently. And sometimes people take things into their own hands, because sometimes I don't know how it works. If somebody's out there committing these crimes against these women, I don't know how they're, and man, again, I don't know the validity of the story, because I don't know this beautiful gentleman. I'm not judging, of course. I'm not saying that the story is not valid or true. There's probably some truth in there, but situations murky. Your boy sought it out, didn't seek it out. Actually, it just happened to be it just happened so that I have interactions with people, is what it is. It's just one of those, just call it that, a daily interaction. All right, and that's something to think about. So the takeaway from that is that the pros and cons of AM versus PM hooking, I'll take away the negatives. If you were to focus on the positives, I'd say this: early dibs on the hooker is probably it is a more sanitary idea if you actually think about it, because although hooking might be a late time evening activity, by the time that you get there in the late shift, you will have loads of residual cum. Even if they shower, shave, spit it, or there's still there's a lot of jizz, pre-jizz in there. So if you get in there early, I could actually see the logic. Probably this man knows what he's doing. Early hooking, actually, you probably want to get there first, as a matter of fact. Still, like, if they're a professional doing it day in, day out, it's but at least fresh for the day, right? Fresh for the day is what I say, at least. So that man's a genius. If anything, he is getting first dibs from his girlfriend, who probably will go on to do her thing after with others. So if you want clean hookers, go in the morning. That's the moral of the story. If you want still clean, but like tired, you don't want to go in. They say these things. Don't ever go get surgery late at night, because like the doctors are probably gonna be tired, so they're not gonna surgery you properly. So they say don't go get a haircut late in the day, because the hairdresser might be a little bit tired and just feel a little bit experimental, and you're like showing them pictures and whatnot, and next thing you know, oh, there goes your locks, and they're showing it to you and blaming it on the shape of your head and saying that really this is a you thing, not a them thing. So it's a lot of finger pointing. And so yeah, they say go early, don't go late, is what I'm trying to say. And hookers, prostitutes, same thing. Do not go late. But also if you like, I do get the cloak of darkness. There is a little bit of, at least, there's a little bit of more privacy and going in the dark compared to, because you don't want to, again, especially if it's a joint where it's like known to be a spot, you don't want to just come out early in the AM and be like, oh, and people see you and be like, what are you doing there? You want to pretend like you're a maintenance guy or something. Everybody knows, man. Everybody knows. But it's fine. Who cares? I care, but you care. Like, let's make sure that everybody gets paid what they're worth properly, and that you can pimp yourself. And that's the moral of that story, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Let's get into it, shall we? But I am genuinely curious. Is this lady for real taking shrimp payments? Is that a thing? Leave a comment if you've been paid in shrimp for sexual favors, or any work really for them. I guess there must be some people getting out there doing their things and getting paid in seafood. Maybe there's something to seafood that I'm not aware of. Maybe it's the, they say the markets are, the markets are unstable, the markets are up, the markets are down. Invest in seafood. They say that gold and shellfish, those two things. are always there. They'll say something along those lines. Ladies and gents, boys and girls, I'll say this. If you happen to let us skirt away from real events that took place in this beautiful city that might be very relatable because they might be very similar. There might be similar events happening in your city somewhere too, somewhere and around the world. But let's skirt, shall we? Welcome to the program, man. Welcome. Suppose you wake up one morning and you start breathing fire and you're burning down the entire place because every time you open your mouth, there's fire coming out. Holy shit. Do not panic. Do not be alarmed. So what, every time you open your mouth, there's a little bit of fire coming out and you're setting everything on fire just because you're a fire-breathing, beautiful human being now. How to deal with this situation, although unlikely, but still very probable at the same time. Simultaneously, although hypothetical, but also very realistic situation. So let's say you wake up. First of all, I gotta ask you, are you a single male or female? Because if you're single, really, instead of panicking, ask yourself, who is this bothering? Who is this, am I bothering anybody by breathing fire anyway? If you're single and you happen to yawn or just speak or open your, and there's fire and there's nobody in and around you, who cares? Now you're a beautiful fire-breathing human being. You will be, let's say you get out of the home, the office, the whatever, complex, office building, tent, your trailer park, wherever you happen to live, you get out and you walk outside and you're like, oh, I wanna smoke a cigarette or light up a joint. Or somebody comes up to you and they're like, oh, I got my own cigarette. But do you happen to have a light, sir or madam? And you could just open your mouth and light their cigarette. How fantastic is that? How great is that you don't have to go out there and purchase lighters? Beautiful. And now you made a beautiful friendship because you can light people's cigarettes with simply breathing from your mouth and just blowing out smoke and fire, which is great. Let's say hypothetically that you get stranded in the middle of nowhere because times are precarious and who knows what's on the horizon. The world might be asking you to get a 4x4 and fill it up with extra gallons of diesel and petroleum and get extra cheese and canned foods, who knows. And guess what? If it so happens that it comes down to that, when they're like, oh man, we're stranded in the middle of nowhere and it's like been raining for several days, because whatever, it's raining for several days. How are we gonna start a fire? Guess what? Now you can open up your mouth and start a fire right there. And even if it's not one of those like end of the day situations, let's just say you go to a campground and everybody's like, oh man, I wonder how I'm gonna start a fire. Do we gather dried leaves, a little bit of twigs here and there? Oh, could you find dead wood on the ground? Is that dead wood on the ground? And I was like, oh, did we bring enough fire starter? Did we bring enough fire? And some people do, and some people don't. But guess what, fam? You're not gonna be stranded out there thinking, oh, I wish I spent a little bit more money on fire starter, liquid starter of fires, because you could just open your mouth and set it on fire. Let's say you want to get a chicken. Let's say you want to have a chicken and you're like, man, I love rotisserie, but I don't have time to fucking wait at the grocery store for the rotisserie chicken to be prepared and stockpile so I could go. I want to get my own raw chicken and rotisserie that shit, but I'm not a fan of conventional methods of putting chickens through fire. Guess what? Grab that chicken, stuff it with all your favorite stuffings, stick your fist up the chicken's asshole, fist the chicken, and start breathing all over it. 360. Fist it and rotate though. Rotate because you want to make sure that the fisted chicken is getting evenly charred. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, there's benefits to everything. And that's why we're here doing it together. It's fucking Wednesday. Welcome to the program. I'll say this. Every office in America, in Canada, in Europe, Asia, Africa, the Middle East, every office, every building, every place of residence should actually be investing in bumper cars and replace all chairs with bumper cars. Ever have a meeting where they hand out a bunch of documents and now you're gonna have to go around the office handing out more of these paper pamphlets and USB drives and bringing documents to the other side of the office building? Did you used to get up off your chair and walk all the way down to the office to give the new documents to the head of the news office station man? Did you have to get up and walk like an idiot? Are we living in some sort of backwards, upside down world where people have to use their legs? Bumper cars. We have the technology and the infrastructures. I demand that we all get access to bumper cars for indoor activities, whether it's an office, whether it's just your place of residence. Why walk when you can bump into things and have a blast? You're like, oh, I wish I could go see a chiropractor. It's a sham. That is wasting your money. Instead, you could be investing in bumper cars so that you're like, oh, we just had a newborn in the office. My wife in the office gave birth to our office baby. I'm gonna go have to, make sure that they have enough diapers while I'm at work, because you have a beautiful mix of work-life balance. Instead of walking like a person from the medieval times, instead of getting your bumper car and go find your wife and bump into her, just bump into her and hand her the new pack of diapers that you picked up somewhere along the line, and make sure she's okay after you bump into her, because but that's the beauty of it too. It gives people a little bit. Everybody's talking these days that they're stationary, that they're not getting enough activity, that there's nothing to resist against in terms of people had things to resist in terms of just bodily movements have become so easy. People back in the day, hunter-gatherer days, we used to be out there resisting things. You'd brush upon a tree, you gotta resist a tree. You brush upon a panther, you gotta, you had things that resist, that build up resistance. Bumper cars scientifically have been proven on a pie chart that will actually reintroduce a new form of resistance training to your daily life that'll make sure that you grow up to be 120 years old with fucking just ripped core, a ripped core. That's what you want. So I don't care where you are, whether it's an office, whether it's your place of residence, whether it's, let's say you got a beautiful mansion, let's say you worked all your life and you made a killing in whichever market, the human trafficking market, money laundering market, the black market, the white market, the underground market, the overground market, illegal arms trades market, blood diamond market, minerals, all sorts of things, ammunition, chips. Let's say you made bank in chips, not the edible kind, not Pringles, not Lay's, not Doritos. I'm talking the chips that are made somewhere else, which we all use in our pieces of technologically advanced equipment, like our phones and our computers. Those chips, the ones that are good, the ones that are not good for dipping, those chips. Let's say you made it, and now you've accumulated a lot of wealth, and now you have a beautiful fucking giant mansion, and you're like, man, first of all, I need a microphone in my hand to be able to talk to people, because they can't hear me because this place is so fucking big. And second of all, if I want to get something to them, let's say you're a beautiful rapper. Let's say you got a beautiful state. You're still walking around your house in a mansion, walking around like a peasant. Get bumper cars, man. And bump into your fellow rappers and trappers and just hand them a bottle of Zerp and be like, yo, let's get in the studio after we get a little bit woozy and fucking come out with the mumble raps, you feel me? And then you'll fucking get in your bumper cars and just, are you on a golf course? Are you tired of traveling with a regular golf cart, not being able to bump into other golfers? Guess what's gonna improve your golfing game? Bumping into people on the golf, because they've got an attitude, some of these elitist asshole motherfuckers. If you're just trying to break into the golfing game and just shake a couple of hands and just, fucking form bonds by going down on one another and just sucking each other off, so you make good connections for later on down the week when it's time to work and shit. Bump into them on a bumper car instead of fucking walking around or like driving in a stupid regular golf cart. Are your children trying to get to places in and around the neighborhood? Ask yourself this: should they not be in bumper cars just bumping into one another and just reinforcing their necks, their tiny little necks? Exactly. And that's why you hear every year thousands of children go out and break their necks because they're weak. Guess what? Sitting in bumper cars and just smacking around a little bit, just like get a couple of early cracks in your neck. Next thing you know, you're actually immune to getting snapped necks, which is nice. 9 out of 10 pediatricians recommend bumper cars for everyday movement. And the one that doesn't is just a cuck. The one that doesn't is just a cuck that doesn't want to get on board on a good product. So don't be a cuck. Welcome to the program. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are tired of having to go out there and it's raining, you're driving, and you're tapping the little handle in the car for the windshield washer liquid dispenser, and I ran out of windshield washer liquid. Honey, what am I gonna do? We're gonna have to get a divorce now because of this windshield washer liquid. I'm gonna have to give the kids up because of this windshield washer liquid that's running extremely low. I'm gonna have to sell the firm. I've had enough of this. How many times have you said that to yourself? Exactly. Well, guess what? We don't have to live like savages anymore. Instead of replacing your windshield washer liquid, simply place a actual, physical, live human on top of your vehicle every time you are seeking to get liquid on the windshield. Reach out the window and just tap him up, just tap him on the side of the nuts. Be like, yo, Benny up top, just go ahead and release, and they'll piss all over your windshield. And that way, you'll never ever have to replace the windshield washer liquid in your car ever again. Because these beautiful men and women who are hired full-time to be strapped to the top of your vehicle will always be ready to piss over your windshield so you have ample amounts of liquid, whether a bird drops doo-doo on your windshield or a mosquito flies 100 kilometers an hour into the windshield and just splat right there into the windshield, and you're like, ew, gross, bloody mosquito, you fucking little vampire. Well, guess what? Normally you have to resort to windshield washer liquid, which everybody know we are running out of. We are running out of windshield washer liquid. How many times have you said that to your, how many times have you had to pull over to the gas station like it's 1923, open the hood and just try to get a little bit of windshield washer liquid back in the old windshield washer liquid chamber, and and the way they make the caps on these windshield washer liquid, the caps are, they're baby proof, they're adolescent proof, they're young adult proof, they're fully cooked adult proof. You can't open these things without injuring yourself. Every time you open a windshield washer liquid, every time you open one of them, you get a little bit of scrape on the side of your thumb, and you had it up to God knows where, and everything is falling apart. But guess what? No more. We said goodbye to that. After I did a lot of research and a lot of investing and a lot of fucking getting to the bottom of things, I'm like, what is this that we're seeking here? And I asked people, I'm like, what is it that you want on your windshield? And they say instant wetness. And I said, who can bring instant wetness to this marketplace? And the people spoke, and the people said, we bring instant wetness to the marketplace. And I said, well, if I see a problem, I find a solution. If I see a hole, I fill it up. If I see 2 holes, I'm like, man, that's an extra hole to fill up. If I keep seeing holes, I will keep filling them up, is what and I did that. And that's why I invented people strapped to the top of cars for life. Never again will you be stranded in the middle of nowhere and you're like, oh, I'm trying to get a clean windshield. The windshield washer liquid's out. As long as you keep these people up there, you just got to keep them alive. Every once in a while, chuck them a sandwich. Every once in a while, you go through the drive-thru, you get an iced coffee, have a sip, out the window, give them a sip. If it's raining, they can self-rehydrate, which is the beautiful thing. Birds up top, give them a little pellet gun. They can hunt birds, eat the birds, and if they happen to be breathing fire, they can make a mean barbecue while strapped to the top of your car, going 60 miles an hour down the highway or wherever you are. Is that 60 kilometers? Is that proper mileage for the US audience? Did I get that right? 100K for everybody else who's normal with their speed measurements and fucking, can we all agree on one form of measurement so we can just speed, length? You know, I'm good with, and I've compromised. I've dabbled in centimeters. I've got my inches right. I know what a foot is. I can tell you, you know, I know a meter. Yeah, but then you start talking in yards, and then that's where you fucking lose me, because I don't know what the fuck you're talking. Oh, this is 3 yards. What are you talking about? He was 50 yards away. He's 150 yards away. What's 150 yards? What is the standard size of a yard? Is this a single family? Is this a single garage household with a yard? Is that the yard? Is it a 2-door garage house with the backyard? Is that the measurement of a regular? How am I supposed to conceptualize a yard in my mind? Oh, that's about 100 yards. Let's just stick with the basics. And I'll say this, ladies and gentlemen, that if you were wondering, is there any way that I could really go out there and fucking enhance my core, really get in there? Yes, there is. Tired of doing sit-ups and crunches on the floor like an ape? There's a better way to do shit. Simply hang yourself from your genitals, whether you've got balls or a vag. Stick a hook in it, hang yourself upside down every day for about 30 to 40 minutes, and you will notice a significant increase in your core strength. No longer will we have men and women who get up to the beautiful age of 99, 110 and start hunching over and looking all sorts of gross and becoming a problem in the elderly folks care facility. They'll be able to fucking bust out, you know, just they'll be able to fucking go at it like little chipmunks without breaking a hip. Why? Because they get down with the program. They hung from their nuts and their vaginas every day. 10 minutes. Do 10 minutes. Hang from your nuts. Next thing you know, your teenage son who was once looking up to you but is now kind of saying to himself, oh, maybe I can take that. He'll come and punch you in the stomach. But guess what? You'll be fucking prepared, man. You'll be strong as an ox because you've been hanging upside down from your nuts all day. Guess what? You have a daughter who's also once looked at mommy like she was, I don't know how young girls would look at their, I've never been a daughter, so I don't, maybe the daughter that looked at the mom as a beautiful mom before, but now is looking at mom and saying, why does she get to have all the fun? And as she comes out and punches you in the stomach and in the uterus. Before these exercises, you be on the ground puking blood, but because you've been hanging from your clit for about 10 to 20 minutes, you can say, hey, little fucking cunt. You can't just pull up on your moms like that. And besides, I got the core to prove it too. Now you knock her in her stomach and she's on the ground puking. Valuable lessons learned. Hell yes. Ladies and gentlemen, of course, we all come across a time in our lives where we have to be in certain places but can't be there physically. And you need some sort of a representation that you really, you know, makes sure that people know you're there. But you need people to know that you're there, but you can't be there. And in these situations, the only way to prove that you are there and that's the only way, and this is the one we're gonna get into it. I'm talking about nut doubles and vag doubles. Did you ever need to be in a situation where you need to either be there in person or on camera, but you can't make it there by yourself, but you need a representation of your nuts or your vagina to be there? Well, guess what? nut doubles or nut doppelgangers or vaginal doppelgangers. That's right. Simply take a photo or a video of your nuts or vagina and upload it to our cloud. And we will search and scour the interwebs, and we will find a perfect match of your identical nutsack and your labias for the ladies, of course. And we will find that match for you. And guess what? Next time there's an important meeting, next time there is a parent, teacher meeting conference that needs to be attended and you can't make it there by yourself, guess what? Let your nut doppelganger or your vaginal doppelganger show up there and be like, hey, it's Jenny. Jenny's back. She's in the fucking building. Let's get down to it and you tell me how my child is a problem. And let's figure out what the problem really is. Are they ADHD or is your program a little bit fucking stale? What is it? What are you trying to teach here? Is it a conference that you need to be there in person but you can't get there in person? Guess what, Jim? You no longer need to be there because your nut doppelganger will show up and be in everyone's face and be like, I'm representing Jim. I'm Jim's doppelganger. Right there. Right there. Put the nuts in their face and let them get a sniff. Let them recognize you nut to nut. And nothing represents a man or a woman like a doppelganger nut or vagina. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the program. I'll be back here again Friday. Peace out.